Hello students, I am Professor Monica Prakash from Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, your instructor for this module. Welcome back to the course on Destination Management. We bring this course to you as a part of e-Pathshala initiative of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India to make postgraduate education accessible to all. In this module, we will discuss at length the concept of carrying capacity of a destination. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the concept of carrying capacity, various types of carrying capacity, know the concept of sustainability, and also understand the factors responsible for sustainability. And you will be able to establish the relationship between carrying capacity and sustainability. Now let me just introduce you to the topic. The term carrying capacity has different meaning in different aspects. Carrying by dictionary means to support or to bear, whereas dictionary meaning of capacity is volume, size, space, range, scope, etc. Therefore, by combining the meaning carrying and capacity, we can say that carrying capacity means to support or bear anything to a certain size, volume and scope. Carrying capacity in terms of tourism in simple terms means the measure of volume of tourists at a place to define and calculate the capacity of a destination to hold an amount or a number of tourists. The second concept that this chapter is going to deal with is sustainability. The literal meaning of sustainability is to carry in such a way that the natural set of the system can be maintained and sustained. To sustain and to carry can be synonymous to each other. Carrying capacity and sustainability of anything, let it be destination, let it be architecture, let it be environment, education, intellect or history. It can range from anything to everything, was a concept that was always there existing in this atmosphere and universe. But the change that has been observed during these years is that now these topics have become relatively more significant. We now started talking, researching and implementing these things in every sphere of life because it's high and alarming time that we should start working on the sustainability and carrying capacity of everything from water, fresh water, population, air to electricity. Otherwise, the negative effect of not working on it can lead to disasters. The catastrophe caused by our negligence towards natural environment cannot be later improved or undone. Global warming and environmental changes that we are all witnessing is one example of human beings neglecting the two very important aspects of life over a place, that is carrying capacity and sustainability. How do we define the word carrying capacity? Now this in simple terms can be defined as number of people, animal or crop which a region can support without environmental degradation. Carrying capacities of various other fields are defined accordingly. The concept and definition of carrying capacity will change with the subject and its variables of course. Carrying capacity in broader sense is related to the size of population and limited natural resources. It is also very important to calculate carrying capacity of a place to maintain the environmental balance of the place. So in other words, we can say that carrying capacity for a region can be termed as maximum number of people at a place for a given time with the limited resource that should not negatively affect the functioning of the ecology and should sustain the natural surroundings. Therefore, in this way, the degradation of the natural surroundings can be controlled and stopped. For tourism, carrying capacity includes not only the natural sustainability, but cultural, social, economic and environmental sustainability too. Remember, carrying capacity is not static. It can be lowered because of the degradation and can be extended because of the technological and social changes. Now, as mentioned in the sustainability scale project on biology, carrying capacity depends upon conditions and resources available in specific area and the consumption habits of the species considered. Because both, that is what is available in the area and the consumption habits of the species change over time, carrying capacity is always changing. This is also a measure of sustainability within these changing conditions. So, tourism carrying capacity is defined by the World Tourism Organization as the maximum number of people that may visit a tourist destination at the same time without causing destruction of the physical, economic, socio-cultural environment and an unacceptable decrease in the quality of visitors' satisfaction. Let us now discuss about the various types of carrying capacity. According to Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, the different types of carrying capacities are A. Physical carrying capacity. Now this in general terms are the number of people that a destination or a place can allow that a given time to be in. Now these numbers of people include the local residents, of course, and the tourists or people coming from the outside area. The B, economic carrying capacity. Now this means to control the inflation due to tourism activity. C, social carrying capacity. This means the level of society to tolerate the number of visitors at a place. The tolerance level of locals for the visitors lead to social carrying capacity. The D, biophysical carrying capacity or ecological or environmental carrying capacity. Now this means the interference from the tourist in the natural settings. The fragile environment need to be taken care of. Areas like wildlife sanctuaries and national parks, coral reefs, vegetative cover, topography and resilient features of the natural vegetation needs to be protected and conserved for future generation. Let us now discuss the factors that affect overall capacity of a place. A question must have arrived in your mind after reading this heading that what are these factors? Now these factors are the variable in a society or in an environment which affects the carrying capacity and protection of a place or a destination. The factors that affect the overall capacity of a place or a destination are as follows. Number 1, access capacity. What is it? In simple terms, it is the limit of accessibility to something or a level or limit to access the area. Access capacity to a place can be exemplified as northeast area of India or few restricted areas where everyone cannot access or can't go. You need to have special permit to visit few areas or few places in northeast, J&K, etc. Few such areas are restricted for everyone because of the Naxalite activities or because of terroristic activities in J&K area. Therefore, it is a factor which affects the carrying capacity of a place. Number 2, commercial capacity. It is the factor which affects the business over a place. The commercial activities get affected by the tourism activities over place. Demand forecasting, price of a good, inflation are few of the economic and commercial activities which get affected because of the tourism activities at a destination. Number 3, construction capacity. The construction over a destination depends on number of tourists visiting a place. Now based upon the number of tourists visiting and are predicted to visit, the number of hotel rooms are counted and so the hotels are constructed. Now which in turn affects the construction capacity of a destination. The construction at a place affects the property rate of that area and the locals are affected. If the construction capacity is exceeded, the environment of the area, it gets polluted and definitely degraded. 4. Service capacity. The services that are required or expected by the tourist visiting a place needs to be catered. The service capacity becomes factors that affects overall capacity of a place in a way when people start migrating from one place to another for acquiring jobs in service area. As services in tourism can be handled by unskilled workers too, it becomes easier for them to occupy the job. To get a job where the tourist inflow is high, residents of different destinations immigrate, which affect the service capacity of the destination where they are migrating and also affects the economy of the place from where these people come from. Number 5, transport capacity and others. Transport and every other variable and aspect get affected by the carrying capacity of a destination. as every destination has a limit to absorb people at a place related to raw material and other resources available, it happens with the transport facilities of a place too. Limited transport facilities cannot cater the need of the tourist getting in a destination if they are over and above the capacity of the destination, and vice versa will affect the environment and pollute the area. Number 6, destination carrying capacity. Now, destinations carrying capacity is very important to be taken care of, as the carrying capacity of the destination can lead to the sustainability of the place. Physical, social, economic consideration of capacity will build better infrastructure for the place that will lead to the promotion of the place, a tourist spot that will further add to the image building of the place as best tourist destination. This all will help in the cultural development and sustainable approach. Environmental benefit to the place can easily be accessed and maintained. There are many objectives of sustainability and carrying capacity as mentioned by the Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations. These are preservation of the areas of unique scientific, historical, cultural and natural value. Also, preservation of history and heritage. Promotion of tourism and recreation in more responsible way should be considered. At the same time, generation of employment opportunities and various other factors should be taken into consideration. Now let us get back to the definition of sustainability. Sustainable tourism development meets the needs of the present tourist and host regions while protecting and enhancing opportunities for the future. The manner in which the resources are controlled guarantees the satisfaction of social and economic needs while preserving cultural and natural diversities. According to Kuros in 2003, sustainable tourism development is a tourism that is established and preserved in such a way that it is economically viable over the period on a long-term basis, while at the same time it does not deplete, destroy or change the natural and socio-cultural environments on which it depends. Sustainable tourism development is essential to ensure that the interactions and the relationship between the natural, socio-cultural and economic environments are in a constant state of balance. That is, where the three environments overlap. Tourism that takes into account of its current and future economic, social and environmental impacts, addressing the needs of the visitors, industry, environment and the host communities. Sustainable tourism development guidelines and management practices are applicable to all forms of tourism in all types of destination, including mass tourism and the various niche tourism segments. Sustainability principles refer to the environmental, economic and socio-cultural aspects of tourism development, and a suitable balance must be established between these three dimensions to guarantee its long-term sustainability. Thus, sustainable tourism should A. Make optimal use of environmental resources that constitute a key element in tourism development, maintaining essential ecological process and helping to conserve natural heritage and biodiversity. B. Respect the socio-cultural authenticity of the host communities, conserve their built and living cultural heritage and traditional values and contribute to intercultural understanding and tolerance. C. Ensure visible long-term economic operations, providing socio-economic benefits to all stakeholders that are fairly distributed, including stable employment and income earning opportunities and social services to host communities, and contributing to poverty alleviation. Sustainable tourism development requires the informed participation of all relevant stakeholders as well as strong political leadership to ensure wide and participation and consensus building. Now, achieving sustainable tourism is a continuous process and it requires constant monitoring of the impacts, introducing the necessary preventive, corrective measures whenever and wherever necessary. Sustainable tourism should also maintain a high level of tourism satisfaction and ensure a meaningful experience to the tourist. Definitely raising their awareness about sustainability issues and promoting sustainable tourism practices amongst them. Talking about the dimensions of the sustainable tourism development, this includes nature-based tourism, community-based or community participation tourism, responsible tourism, ecotourism, green tourism, alternate tourism, wildlife tourism, heritage tourism, and almost all other types of tourism except promotion of mass tourism without sensibly thinking over the consequences of it over the environment and the carrying capacity of the place. Now, which are the three pillars of sustainability? The three pillars are social, economic, and environmental, whereas the few more can be added in the list of pillars which support and growth of sustainability. These are governance or political participation in policies, participation of people and society, which led to the responsible behavior and sustainability, yet the three are taken more into account. Now, these three types of tourism which is considered as the pillars are responsible tourism, ecotourism, and community-based tourism. Responsible tourism by definition is a kind of tourism which is enjoyed and done in a more responsible way. It focuses more on reducing the negative impact of tourism or different spheres of life of host or the local people. Talking about the second, ecotourism in simple terms is a type of tourism which focuses more on natural environment and is intended to support conservation effort and preserve wildlife and flora and fauna. The third, community-based tourism. This is more of a kind in which local communities are more involved and tourism activities are more directed by local community people in a friendly and authentic way, which in turn generates revenue for them and help in upliftment of their living standards. What could be the benefits from the sustainable development? Now, this leads to long-term environmental practices which gives a better quality of life for all members of the society. Business practices with low environmental impact leads to economic development combined with sustainable transport systems bringing solid growth and economic prosperity. Plans, policies and programs from government, which could be public and the private sectors, give immense contribution in the development of tourism at a destination. Political and administrative help can be extended if the locals are receptive to the change and the same assistance is provided by the other side. Let us now focus at the environmental impact of tourism. Water tourism operations, for example, release garbage, sewage into the lakes, river, beaches. Release of oil from the oil, cruise ships, ferry boats, etc. What would be the impact? Contamination, health, hazards, destruction of aquatic plants and animals' life, increasing toxicity in water, bodies contaminated, seafood, etc. The second, if you would talk about, is the atmosphere. What are the tourism operations that we do while we are there? Increase in travel to destinations via motor car, ship, train, airplane. Definitely the impact would be air and noise pollution, adverse impact on life, plant, loss of recreation value. The third thing, that is the vegetation. What are our tourism operations that we do? Chopping of trees for resort construction, thoughtless use of fire in parks and forest, vehicular traffic in parks and forest, collection of flowers, plants and fungi. And remember, the impact that is there because of these is the loss of forest wealth, constant trampling of plants, conflagrations in the forested areas and effects on plant life, etc. The next point that we are talking about is human settlements. Now, what are the touristic operations that we undertake in this place? Construction and expansion of hotels, shops, etc. And definitely the impact is displacement of people, traffic congestion and increased pollutions. So, let us talk about the monuments. The tourism operations has an impact like use for recreational purposes, excessive usage for sightseeing, etc. And the impact remains overcrowding, disfiguring, loss of preservation, etc. To explain the environmental impact of tourism on sustainability, through the diagram you would see, the explanation for you goes like this. The tourist activities over a destination affects its environmental and physical systems. The tourist activities like taking bath in the holy rivers like Ganges, Narmada, etc. at different destinations or water and adventure activities on beaches at Goa, Mumbai, Orissa, etc. interferes and disturbs the natural environment of a destination. These activities release garbage in river and sewage waste into lakes, rivers, beaches and oceans. Boating and water sports activities releases oil from the boats and other sports equipments and vehicles which affect aquatic life underwater. Tourism activities also affects air atmosphere as the tourism activities increases. So, the frequency of travel from one place to another increases. So, the increase in the number of the flight taking off from one place to another which creates lots of air and noise pollution and also adversely affects the plant life and ecology. Remember, chopping of trees for development of hotel and resorts, thoughtless use of fire in forest and park, vehicular traffic in parks and forests adversely affects plants and the flora of the area. Tourism activities in certain areas leads to the displacement of people from one place to another. Unemployment opportunities also accumulate at the destination where tourism activities are higher than any other place. All these activities also increases pollution and traffic congestion at a destination. A very relevant example for the same is the Delhi traffic and a high pollution rate in Delhi. Tourist activity at a place and at a destination affects the monuments and its preservation and conservation of the monument is hindered. Now, all these tourism activities over a destination affect the environment and natural setup of the area. Now, let us look at some of the challenges in way to achieve tourism sustainability. Few challenges can come in a way to achieve the goals of sustainability. Those challenges can be: first, inadequate funds. An economical challenge to achieve tourism sustainability is inadequate availability of funds for carrying out the activity for sustained development. Better economic alternatives. Better economic alternatives are possible thresholds and a criterion in the measure of a capacity to absorb tourism at a destination. Uncontrolled inflation. Inflation due to tourism activities over a place increases the prices of the goods available within the destination. To control inflation because of tourism activities are major challenges to achieve a sustainable growth. Yes, shortage of labor over one destination and abundance of them at another destination leads to imbalance in availability. Excessive competition. Now, this between the entrepreneurs of the destination at a maturity stage leads to the thoughtless development and construction over a destination which disturbs the carrying capacity and sustainability. Some serious losses or damage. We can see the cultural and the traditional loss, inequitable spread of benefits so that the locals are dominated by the newcomers in the area, which leads to serious crimes, which is a social challenge in development of the place. Environmental disasters or natural calamities. Now, this is the destruction caused by the environmental disasters or natural calamities which disturbs the ecology and the environment, which many a times becomes challenge in the way to maintain the balance of a place. Perceptual user dissatisfaction. People travel from one place to another and select a destination to travel due to some motivation that a destination has and pull the tourist towards itself. Due to carrying capacity and sustainable development of the place users, preferences and motivation changes and the activities that they want to perform over a place, if they fail to do so, it generates a perceptual dissatisfaction among the tourist visiting a place. Valued cultural loss. Tourism activities in abundance can lead to the loss of culture of a place. Staged authenticity and demonstration effect in tourism are threat to cultural sustainability. Serious crimes, theft, mob attack, etc. The security of a tourist visiting a destination has become a serious challenge to maintain the image of a destination. Due to more number of tourists visiting a place which is over and above the carrying capacity of a destination, the host population many a times behave in a serious offensive way, which can become a challenge to create a positive image of the destination. Who can forget about the political inability to achieve the objectives? There are levels of political systems and management systems from local level to regional level to national level and the international level. The political incapability to focus on the actual problem and to develop an effective planning and policy for the eco and sustainable development of a place becomes a challenge for the thoughtful development of the destination. Does a relationship between carrying capacity and sustainability exist? Carrying capacity and sustainability can be said to share an inversely proportional relationship. If carrying capacity is increased, sustainability will decrease. If not the mathematical expression, the relationship between the carrying capacity and sustainability can be explained in a way that both of them are interrelated and share a strong bond. Carrying capacity of a place affects sustainability, and the sustainable and thoughtful development of the place affects the carrying capacity. For a responsible economical and the balanced environmental development of the destination, carrying capacity and sustainability should always be taken into account and consideration. More, the tourist visiting a place will affect the carrying capacity, which further will affect the environment and ecology. Talk about soil erosion, pollution of water, resources, landslides, loss of species, etc., which will affect the sustainability and the destinations in turn. The same will happen with the social and the cultural aspect of the destination, economical aspect and the physical aspect of the destination too. Therefore, it can be summarized that the carrying capacity should be checked all inclusive so that the comprehensive sustainable development of the destinations can be performed. Let us now look at the summary of what we have studied. The basic takeaway from this particular module would be: tourism carrying capacity as per World Tourism Organization is defined as the maximum number of people that may visit a tourist destination at the same time without causing destruction of the physical, economic, socio-cultural environment and an unacceptable decrease in the quality of visitors' satisfaction. We also took into account the different types of carrying capacities like physical, economic, social and biophysical, ecological or environmental carrying capacities. The factors that affect the overall capacity of a place or a destination were also highlighted, which included access capacity, commercial capacity, construction capacity, service capacity, transport capacity, and last, the destination carrying capacity. The sustainable tourism development is the tourism that is established and preserved in such a way that it is economically viable over the long term, while at the same time it does not deplete, destroy or change the natural and the socio-cultural environment on which it depends. The three basic pillars of sustainability was also highlighted, which were social, economic and environmental. Sustainable development leads better quality of life for all members of the society, business practices with low environmental impact and sustainable transport system bringing solid economic growth and economic prosperity. Few challenges which could be termed as the major, which comes in way to achieve the goals of sustainability, were also studied, and they remain inadequate funds, better economic alternatives, uncontrolled inflation, shortage of labor, excessive competition, cultural and traditional loss, inequitable spread of benefits, environmental disasters or natural calamities, perceptual user satisfaction, and crimes and political inability to achieve the objectives. Finally, to summarize, a holistic approach to the carrying capacity should be taken so that the comprehensive sustainable development of the destinations can be performed. Thank you.